That was funny. What's up? Number two. Okay, here we go. The goal was to keep it under like a few minutes, but they are entries or whatever. But we'll do it quick because we've got to be at the church today. We're gonna serve for youth. It was really cool. Um, when my wife and I came to the area that we're in now, it was really great to find community fairly quickly and get plugged in fairly quickly. Um, I couldn't help but notice that, like, immediately we were able to connect with a lot of folks, and sometimes that's hard because when you're coming into a from an outsider perspective, there seems sometimes either because they actually exist or because it's just mental blocks, we create like little barriers in our heads. But something that I came to learn very quickly is that sometimes you have to have a little bit of that entrepreneurial spirit when meeting new people. And I think this is like a Jordan Peterson ism that says, uh, you know, you have to risk looking like a fool in order to learn something new. And I think sometimes being part of communities requires you to like learn the culture, learn what's happening there, learn how people operate. And we've, I think, fortunately have found great people, and just it's fun. And this doesn't feel like it's so funny. Years ago, I used to have this kind of like debate within myself. I was just like, all right, like, are we like, okay, are you gonna serve at your church and expect comp or whatever? But I think um, I think that's something that you grow out of, especially if you can you have the time to be able to volunteer, and you have the capacity to do so, and also like that, so our pastor will say, like, one thing he recently said, and it was at a men's conference, is just like boys are looking to be served, and maturing is knowing that it's serve others. And when you're part of a community, sometimes that requires you to give up some of the stuff that some sharing game with the younger generation and offering up your gifts. I think that's pretty cool. I think a lot of folks kind of take that for granted. um, I don't know. It's a very strange thing because you want folks to appreciate what you do. You want people to uh, you know like validate or give that vindication, but at the same time, it's like you got to surrender that feeling or that need, right? You need to surrender that need to be told that someone is proud of you, or give up, surrender the need for constant validation or vindication. It's like, hey, this matters, or like, hey, like, I'm actually giving this to you for free. I'm cutting you a deal. It's like, yeah, that's kid stuff. It's like, if you can't be generous with your time and with your talents or whatever gifting you've been blessed with, it's like, you're a bit selfish, right? We all have to feed our families, and I know that sometimes it's a bit of a touchy subject. And I by no means am saying like, oh, hey, like, do everything for free, but also, there's opportunities to serve, and today we have that. Um, you know, so that's kind of where we're at. This morning, I took some time to like write on misalignment. So this is not a poem or anything. It's just kind of thoughts this morning. So here goes. It's so easy to be at the wrong end of a spirited exchange. So confident in your grasp of the full spectrum of the situation, but the larger picture evades you. That grasp is just delusion. The word says that the heart is so profoundly blind in its own emotional drunkenness that to trust it is a useless, fruitless endeavor. Oof. Why do we fight so strongly and ferociously for battles that only the spirit can see? Was it lost? Was it pain? Was it emptiness? Where did the void come from? Preachers often call it the Christ sized void in our hearts, and the thing that we need to, try to like fix that aspect of us. But the reality that I think, and where I'm going to, is that I think that that's a very gimmicky concept. Like, we dilute and diminish the concept of Christ and his sacrifice by thinking that he is just going to fit into our lives. I don't have an oxygen sized void in my lungs or a water deficient vessel that needs to be serviced. I'm a part of that void. I am dead, without form. The only way to survive is to be spoken into life. The only way to survive in this flesh is to breathe, to drink water. John Mark McMillan says, "A dead man with a ghost who lives." Such a great idea, great line. Ugh, love that song. Carbon Ribs, look into it. The misalignment isn't a lack of intention, just a symptom of embracing a void rather than embracing life. A taxing process and a toll that many refuse to pay. The daily work, the daunting task. What a shame it would be to succumb to misalignment. Oh, I don't know where that came from today. I was just on that. That's kind of where I've been thinking about that. Sometimes it can be in the form of a disagreement or like an argument. It just becomes this thing that you're just like, dude, totally missed the mark there. But in the moment, heat of battle, you're not thinking that. You're definitely not thinking that. Let's see, what do we got? I was messing with like that some of these like octave patches and blocks in the quad cortex. Pretty cool. Also, one thing I've noticed is that we are slowly and slowly making thinner and thinner sounds, right? So I've been kind of like messing with like phase, trying to make sure that I'm not freaking imagining some of this stuff. But at first, the way that you will test some of this stuff is like you turn off, like you do a phase flip, right? And it kind of sounds right. That's like the first version of it, and then the second version is like this. Okay, so here's the part where I get a little bit confused. The first version feels like really at polar opposite ends, and it doesn't sound like too much low end was lost. But then the second version, when we bring it back to its original, feels a little bit more focused, like right in the center of what we're talking about. Which is why I'm like, wait, so if the phase isn't necessarily adding or removing a lot of that low end, it means that the low end is not present, which is kind of a bummer, because then I look and lo and behold, there is a parametric and it's at 54, but it's a low shelf, not a high pass. Interesting. I don't know. Let's see, let's take that final EQ off, see what happens. And then we bring it back. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I like it. Yeah. That's good. All right. Let's see. What else have I been on? So got the Jake Faber preset. Pretty great. Also, Tone Shepherd, look into it. Great stuff if you own a QC. Great stuff. I also am implementing a what do you call it? I am implementing a HX stomp into the chain because the quad cortex sometimes runs out of DSP, especially with these V2 amp captures. So if I want to get a good amp, I'll use some of the delay models on the HX stomp, which is really great. However, the micro pitch on the Neural DSP, fantastic. Great model on DSP. Let's see right here. Is it this right here? I think it's this. Yeah. We all know that one right now. What was it? You can kind of hear it once you get to the higher registers, right? I totally forgot the 1975. I don't even know if I know them anymore. There it is. Oh my goodness, that took way too long. Yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Yeah, that's what's happening. Let's see if we can do like another little thingamabob. Let's try some of this. Here we go. Nah. Oh, yeah, I had an idea like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, haha! We did the wrong one.
I didn't know I could do that. I just found out today. That's awesome. All right. Well, now let's edit this and post it. One is going today. One's going tomorrow. Man, I gotta find a fast way to post this stuff. But see ya.